Wow. Just wow. Manchester City making history to become the first ever side to win 4 Premier League trophies in a row. And that is quite possibly one of, if not the most impressive record that we've managed to break whilst we've had Pep Guardiola in charge at Manchester City. And there have been some monumental achievements that the team have managed to do from the Centurion season. We've won a treble, we've won our first Champions League trophy, and we've managed to do on a consistent basis over the period of 4 seasons. It's a long time for Manchester City to win back-to-back Premier League trophies. Never been done before, whether that be Manchester United under the spell of Sir Alex Ferguson, whether you've got Chelsea with Jose Mourinho, Arsenal and their invincible season under Arsene Wenger. No one has managed to achieve what Pep Guardiola has managed to achieve with Manchester City. And I really hope that a big deal is made of what has been achieved by Pep Guardiola and the squad and Manchester City this season. The season has been, and I think you guys can agree, it's been hard work. Manchester City perhaps haven't been at their slick very best at periods in the season, but when they've needed to turn up, when they've needed the results, time and time again, as history has shown, Manchester City have turned up, Manchester City have done what has needed to be done, and they've managed to accumulate a fantastic points tally into the 90 points to win the Premier League trophy. And Manchester City are very much formidable. They are a wonderful team with a wonderful manager who are going places. And as I said, this season it's been hard work for City. It's been hard work because our squad has been stretched thin. We cast our minds back to the summer and we start to think about how we'd let Ilkay Gundogan leave for free. He's captain and leader for Manchester City in the big games, turning up and showcasing his quality. He was instrumental for Manchester City last season in winning the treble as well and showing his quality time and time again. We'd allowed him to leave for free. We'd allowed Riyad Mahrez out wide to leave. We'd allowed Aymeric Laporte to leave the club as well. There were important first team players that we'd allowed to leave as we looked to just try something new. We were looking for Manchester City to try and freshen up their squad, to keep the motivation high, to keep the skill set high, whilst matching into the personality of the squad. And in the summer, we managed to accumulate a good window. Josko Gvardiol coming in first half of the season. There were some questions. There were people out there who were saying flop of the season is Josko Gvardiol. They need to eat humble pie, they really do. Josko Gvardiol's second half of the season has been outstanding. And if Josko Gvardiol had been performing how he's been performing in the second half of the season, in the first half of the season as well, Josko Gvardiol will be right up there, not only for Young Player of the Season, but in my opinion, Player of the Season, because he'd be right up there with doing as important of a job as what Phil Foden's done for Manchester City. And that's that consistent basis. That's what City will be looking for from Gvardiol going into next season. He has showcased his quality on the pitch to offer something transparent, to offer something new to Manchester City, something that we've not seen before. This centre-back who's coming in, who people were thinking was a left-back, who's playing left wing, who's actually very clinical in front of goal as well. He has been a breath of fresh air for Manchester City in the second half of the season, and he's one of many reasons why in the second half of the season Manchester City have looked not only improved but looked fresh and new as well, which is absolutely brilliant. We added Kovacic to the squad, and again another player second half of the season really adapting himself really well, and him along with Gvardiol, they are first team regulars at Manchester City who have done really well. And I'd be looking towards Matheus Nunes going into next season for him to try and build on his confidence and try and apply himself into the first team squad as well, and that would be absolutely brilliant. We do have some battles of course going into the summer and trying to keep hold of important players, including Stefan Ortega, our second choice goalkeeper, Bernardo Silva, and question marks over his future as well, and different directions of what the squad want to do. Kevin De Bruyne being linked with a move to Saudi Arabia. So there's big question marks over some very important experienced players that we've got at City, but that's to think about for another time. Today, It's very much all about celebrating a wonderful achievement in winning the Premier League, which in itself is a fantastic achievement, but to go and do 4 in a row as well is really special. So obviously adding Doku to our squad, he's again started to adapt himself, offering something new to Manchester City. Erling Haaland scoring 20 plus goals in the Premier League. He's been getting criticised, yet he looks like he's going to be taking the Premier League Golden Boot for 2 consecutive seasons, which again isn't an easy thing to go and do, and I'm sure Haaland on his own personal point of view will be looking to try and improve himself going into next season and try and make it 30 plus goals in a Premier League season. But his goals have been very important for Manchester City, having Kevin De Bruyne come back from a serious injury in the winter to help Manchester City to spur us on into the second half of the season. Second half of the season, Manchester City, they're just different gravy compared with everybody else. You give Manchester City a sniff and Man City will take every single opportunity. They are like an apex predator when given that opportunity. You just cannot do that when it comes to the Premier League involving Manchester City. And Arsenal have had it in their own hands for a long period of time. They've had some bad results here and there, but it's looking like that Aston Villa match was the fatal match for Arsenal, and that's what's allowed Manchester City that opportunity, because we haven't beaten Arsenal this season in the Premier League. We lost at the Emirates Stadium. We drew at the Etihad Stadium in a boring 0-0 match. Arsenal have taken 4 points off City this season. We've only taken 1 point off them. So Arsenal have improved from that aspect, yet have still fallen short of the line, and it's all to do with consistency. Arsenal are 95% of the way there, but it's that 5%, that fine margin, that ultimately is the difference between being champions and not being champions. And this Manchester City squad have it drilled into their mentality that they have the belief, they have what it takes to go out there, to go and win Premier Leagues, and it's devastating. Liverpool have fallen under that shackle before. Arsenal, 2 consecutive seasons, have fallen under that shackle as well. Manchester City are just the team. It's a generational team, and I'm convinced that in 10, 15, 20 years, we will all look back on this period of dominance that we've had under Pep Guardiola. We'll wipe a tear away from our eye and we'll say, what memories, what a football team, and what achievements we managed to achieve, because on reflection, it's nothing short of incredible. Pep Guardiola's tenure at Manchester City has been a tremendous success and then some. And this achievement, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, 4 Premier League trophies in a row, I can argue that that is Man City's biggest achievement to date as of yet. And it's exciting that we could add to our tally. We could make it 5 consecutive Premier League trophies. It could be something that never gets seen ever again. It could be something that's not seen for a whole generation. It's a very exciting time to be a Manchester City supporter. It's very exciting times for everybody involved with Manchester City as well. And today is all about success. Today is all about celebrating that success and making sure that everybody recognises the achievements of what has been a brilliant season for Manchester City. And we could still add to that and then some. FA Cup final against Manchester United next weekend. What a huge match. Manchester derby, consecutive back-to-back FA Cup finals involving Manchester City and Manchester United. We managed to beat them last season, and if we can do that again, what a way it would be to end our season with a cup double. And there'll be some cynicals amongst us who'll be saying, I wish we'd had the Champions League to go out as well to make it consecutive back-to-back treble, something that will never be done in my opinion ever again. But unfortunately, not to be for Manchester City, unbeaten in the Champions League, but going out on penalties to Real Madrid, and I reckon Real Madrid are probably going to go on to win the Champions League. It is what it is, but as I said, I think it's important to recognise greatness, and it's important to recognise that what Manchester City have managed to achieve here is something that nobody else ever has managed to achieve, and that in itself is a show of direction of where Manchester City are heading and where Manchester City want to be. And the hunger and desire will still be there. City will want to win that FA Cup next weekend. City will want to make it 5 consecutive Premier League trophies in a row next season. City will want to add the Champions League to their trophy tally again from next season as well. And add on to it already, European Super Cup champions, Club World champions as well. It's been a fantastic season. We're nearly there. We've already achieved tremendous success. As this season already is a brilliant season, but we can add the cherry on top of the cake by winning the FA Cup against no other than Manchester United at Wembley as well in back-to-back Manchester Derby FA Cup finals. Winning both of them in consecutive seasons would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, I will have my season review out next week where I'll speak more about things like the player performances and the signings that we've brought in, including digging a little bit deeper into the likes of Gvardiol and Kovacic and Jeremy Doku, etc., and dipping into performances in the League Cup, the Community Shield and things. But I'll do that for next week for you guys. As I said, go and enjoy it, go and celebrate. Premier League champions 4 times in a row. What an achievement. Absolutely inevitable from Manchester City. They are just a different ball game. In the second half of the season, business end of the season, it brings out the very best out of Manchester City, and they've managed to do it again with 4 Premier League trophies in a row. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. Peace. Ciao for now.